You know that feeling, right? That mental instant replay of a past mistake, followed by that hot sting of shame that makes you wish you could just disappear. It can feel like a life sentence, a permanent stain on who you are. The memory loops, the self-criticism gets louder, and suddenly you're trapped in a mental prison you built yourself. It's exhausting. It feels hopeless. But what if I told you that the greatest minds of the ancient world, men like the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, didn't just have a way to cope with shame, they had a secret to erase it. A way to turn that self-punishment into personal power. A method for transforming self-condemnation into unbreakable strength. This isn't just ancient philosophy, it's modern science. Chronic anger is known to put your nervous system in a constant state of fight or flight, and research now shows that holding on to guilt and shame can trigger that same stress response. In other words, punishing yourself isn't a form of accountability, it's a form of self-harm. Today, we're sharing the Stoic secret to breaking this cycle. We're giving you 4 ancient, battle-tested principles to help you stop punishing yourself, reclaim your power from past mistakes, and finally find your freedom. The first secret is the foundation for everything else. You have to separate what you did from who you are. A past mistake is an event. It isn't your identity. Shame works by convincing you that an action defines your character. The thought process slides from, I did a bad thing, to, I am a bad person, or from, I failed at that, to, I am a failure. This is the internal lie that keeps us trapped. The Stoics knew that it's our judgments about events, not the events themselves, that cause our suffering. As the philosopher Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your mistake is over. It lives in the past, an event that's now completely out of your control. But your interpretation of that event is happening right now, and that's the one thing you have absolute power over. When you tell yourself, that mistake proves I'm not good enough, that isn't a fact, it's just a story you're choosing to believe. Think about it this way. If you knock over a glass of water, do you label yourself a clumsy, worthless water spiller for the rest of your life? Of course not. You acknowledge the event. I spilled the water. You take responsibility. I'll clean it up. And you learn from it. I'll be more careful next time. You separate the action, spilling, from your core identity. The same logic applies to any mistake, no matter how big. You made a poor decision. You hurt someone. You failed at a project. Those are actions. They aren't you. Research today shows that people who struggle to forgive themselves often describe a past event as feeling vivid and immediate, even years later, because they're constantly reliving it. They stay stuck in cycles of guilt that threaten their very sense of self. The Stoic practice of separating the action from the self is the antidote. It allows you to say, I did something I regret, but I am not that moment. I was unwise then, but I have the power to be wise now. This isn't about letting yourself off the hook, it's about giving yourself the chance to grow. Once you've separated the action from your identity, the next secret is to change your relationship with the past itself. You have to stop using your mistakes as a weapon to beat yourself with and start using them as a textbook to learn from. The Stoics were masters of this mental reframing. They believed that every obstacle was an opportunity. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote about how the mind can adapt and convert any obstacle into a new path forward. In his words, the impediment to action advances action. Your shame, that mistake you're holding onto, it isn't a wall blocking your path. It is the path. It's the very thing that can teach you how to live a better life. Most of us do the opposite. We replay our failures endlessly, not to learn, but to punish. That's just self-flagellation, not self-improvement. One study found that people who are unable to forgive themselves stay stuck focusing on the past, whereas those who can forgive themselves make a conscious choice to focus on the future and reconnect with their values. So how do you actually do this? Instead of asking, "Why was I so stupid?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of just stewing in the pain, dissect the experience like a surgeon. Ask yourself 3 things. What conditions led to this mistake? Was I acting out of ignorance, fear, ego, or exhaustion? What specific lesson is this experience trying to teach me? How can I use this knowledge to be a better, wiser person tomorrow? The Stoic philosopher Seneca, who made plenty of mistakes himself, understood that we're all flawed. He wrote, "Let's be kind to one another. We're just wicked people living among wicked people. Only one thing can give us peace, and that's a pact of mutual leniency. That leniency has to extend to yourself. When you approach your past with curiosity instead of condemnation, you transform it. The memory loses its power to hurt you and becomes a source of wisdom. You stop being a prisoner of your history and start being a student of it." The third secret is about building an untouchable inner strength. The Stoics call this the inner citadel, a fortress in your mind that no external event or opinion can ever break into. Shame, at its core, is a judgment. And often, it's the imagined judgment of others that we internalize and then turn on ourselves. Marcus Aurelius gave us the blueprint for this fortress when he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your mind is the citadel. The opinions of others and your past mistakes are all outside events. They can't cause you shame without your active consent. You are the one who lowers the drawbridge and lets them in. To feel shame is to give someone else's potential opinion more weight than your own reason. The Stoics argued this is a huge mistake. The only thing with true value is your own character. Whether someone thinks you're a success or a failure is irrelevant. How you act right now is relevant. Modern neuroscience is actually proving this. Forgiveness, including self-forgiveness, has been shown to activate neural pathways in the brain linked to empathy, emotional regulation, and cognitive control. In one surprising study, researchers looked at the link between high lifetime stress and poor mental health. They found that for people who scored high on measures of forgiveness, that link was essentially erased. Forgiveness zeroed out the damage of stress. That is the inner citadel at work, a scientifically measurable psychological shield. Building this citadel means practicing indifference to things you can't control. The next time a memory of a mistake brings that hot flush of shame, just pause. Remind yourself, this is a memory. Other people's opinions are outside my control. My character, right now, is within my control. As Marcus Aurelius put it, it is a uniquely human thing to love people even when they get things wrong. You can do it if you remember they are human, too, and more importantly, that they haven't truly hurt you because they haven't diminished your ability to choose. Your past hasn't taken away your power to choose how you act now. Reclaim that power. Defend your citadel. This final secret is maybe the most important, because it moves you from thought into the real world. The ultimate antidote to shame isn't more thinking, it's present, virtuous action. The Stoic teacher Epictetus famously said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Shame thrives on inaction. It wants you stuck in your head, looping in regret. The Stoic cure is to break that loop by focusing intensely on what you can do right now to be the person you wish you had been then. If you acted out of cowardice, practice courage today in some small way. If you were dishonest, commit to radical honesty in your next conversation. If laziness led to failure, dedicate yourself to disciplined work for the next hour. The best apology for a past mistake is changed behavior. This isn't about some grand gesture of redemption. It's about laying one good brick at a time. Each time you choose to act with virtue, with honesty, discipline, or courage, you are literally building a new identity. You're generating fresh evidence that contradicts the old, shame-based story. The person who feels like a failure can't argue with the fact that they just spent an hour working with deep focus. This lines up perfectly with psychological research on self-forgiveness, which shows a key step to healing is reconnecting with your values and focusing on the future. Action is the bridge that takes you from the person you were to the person you're becoming. It is physical proof that you are not your worst moment. So live with the virtue you wish your past self had. Don't just wish you were different. Start living differently, right now. That is how you starve shame of the oxygen it needs to survive. These 4 secrets aren't a magic trick. They're a practice, a way of training your mind, day after day, to choose strength over suffering. Separate the action from your identity. You are not your mistakes. Use the past as a teacher. Your failures are your curriculum. Reclaim your inner citadel. You control who and what gets into your mind. And embody your philosophy. The best apology is transformation. Shame is a heavy burden, but it is one you can choose to set down. The Stoics and modern psychologists agree, forgiving yourself isn't a sign of weakness. It's the ultimate expression of strength. It's the act of reclaiming your power from the past, so you can build a better future. If this resonated with you, and you want to keep applying ancient wisdom to modern life, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss what's next. And drop a comment below. Which of these secrets are you going to start practicing today? Remember the words of Marcus Aurelius, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Choose to think in colors of strength, learning, and forward momentum. Choose to begin again.